Good day, guys. Now, welcome to our first online session. Now, please be reminded that after this, we will be having a case analysis during our class. Now, if you have any questions or clarifications regarding the topic that we have for today, just inform me in our class and I'll gladly answer it. Now, for today class, we will be discussing about psychosis. It is always referred to as an abnormal condition or derangement of the mind. Now, first and foremost, let's discuss what is psychosis. Now, psychosis came from the Greek word psyche, meaning mind or soul, while osis, meaning an abnormal condition or derangement. So basically, pag pinagsama natin yung dalawang term, ibig sabihin nito is it's simply a derangement or a normal condition of the mind. Now, psychosis is classified as syndrome wherein disorganized ang thinking ng isang tao. Minsan, naghihiwalay na ang kanyang realidad, sa realidad ng iba. Now, the most important types of psychosis would include schizophrenia, which is our topic for today, affective disorders, which includes the bipolar mania, and then organic psychosis. Now, kapag organic psychosis, normally it's caused by either a head trauma, substance abuse, etc., etc. Now, ano bang pinagkaiba ng ordinary schizophrenia sa organic psychosis? Now, di ba sabi natin before, kapag organic psychosis, ang common hallucinations na nakuha mo nito is visual. While for schizophrenia, most of the time, ang nakuha mong hallucination is auditory, meaning may bumubulong sa'yo. Okay? So again, topic for today is schizophrenia. So let's talk about this. Now, schizophrenia, it's characterized by a divorcement from reality in the mind of a person. Sabi nga psychosis. Now, it is basically classified into has three symptoms. We have the first is delusions of grandeur. Now, ano bang ibig sabihin pag sinabi ng delusions of grandeur? This is the false belief that one possesses superior qualities such as genius, sikat or famous, omnipotence or wealth. So kapag sinabi natin grandeur, ibig sabihin they're like the king of the world. Or halimbawa, iniisip nila minsan sila si Jesus Christ. Or kaya nilang gawin ng kahit anong gusto nilang gawin. Now, minsan nakikita mo rin ng mga simptomas na to kapag ikaw ay may, bipolar, or minsan pag may Alzheimer's ang isang tao. Now, the next symptom is catatonia. Now, catatonia is a state of neurogenic motor immobility and behavioral abnormality manifested by stupor. Now, kapag catatonic ang isang tao, ito yung tipong pag kinausap mo, hindi siya nag-respond sa'yo. Minsan nakatulala lang, parang ganon. Okay? Now, the last symptom ng schizophrenia would be paranoia. Now, I guess mas familiar sa lahat ito. Paranoid schizophrenia includes auditory hallucinations, hearing voices, or paranoid delusions, believing that everyone is out to cause you harm. I remember one time we had one case, isang patient, okay, bigla na lang siya nagsisigaw, nagtago sa ilalim ng kama niya, sinasabi niya tapos, nagsisigaw siya, sinasabi niya, andyan na raw mga kalaban at binabaril na raw tayo, or kami noon. Anyway, so, that's paranoia. Now, what are the symptoms of schizophrenia? We can classify them in so many symptoms. Now, let's start with the most common symptom, the positive symptom. Okay, positive symptom could be delusions. Okay, sabi nga natin, the feeling of grandeur. Parang feeling nila sila ay, sikat na tao, genius, etc., etc. So, mahirap yon. So, minsan class, pag narinig yung sinasabi ko ako na si Jesus Christ, matakot na kayo. Next one, we have the hallucinations. Okay, again, the hallucinations for schizophrenia oftentimes comes in auditory form. Meaning, may bumubulong, sinasabing gagawin mo. Minsan, kausap mo ang TV, tapos narinig, akala mo kinakausap ka pabalik ng TV. Or may personal message ang TV sa'yo or radio. Next one is combativeness. Combativeness meaning defensive ka lagi. Okay, and then of course, kapag ikaw ay may schizophrenia, sometimes you get insomnia. Okay, insomnia wherein you're thinking too much. So, ang tendency is naapektuhan na ang sleep patterns mo. Now, let's proceed naman to the next symptom ng schizophrenia, which is the negative symptoms. Now, this is probably one of the rarest form of schizophrenia wherein nagkakaroon ka ng affective flattening. When you say affective flattening, the person's range of emotional expression is clearly diminished. Meaning, nawawalan sa ng eye contact, halos wala sa pinapakitang body language. So, technically, ito yung mga tao na pag sinabi mong, nasusunog na ang bahay nyo, hindi sila nag-reply. Sabi nila, okay, fine, ganun talaga buhay. So technically, sila yung mga taong halos wala ng emotions. Okay? Alogia naman, meaning the poverty of speech, such as a brief or empty replies. Sasabihin nila sa'yo lagi, oo, hindi. Tanungin mo, kumain ka na ba? Anong gusto mong kainin? Wala. So, ganun siya. Alright? So, ano pa nga ba ang mga simptomas ng isang taong may negative schizophrenia? So, you also have their avolition, inability to initiate and persist in goal-directive activities such as schoolwork. So, apathy, meaning wala nang pakialam. And of course, asocial behavior. So, pag may asocial behavior ng isang tao, ito yung mga taong, ito yung sila yung may, sabihin natin humihiwalay sa mga grupo ng tao. Okay? The next symptom would be disorganized symptoms. Okay? Disorganized thought, speech, or behavior. So, most of the time, ito yung mga taong parang walang patutunguhan, kumbaga. Now, let's talk about the different types of schizophrenia naman. Based on the symptoms, as we've said, so we have what we call the paranoid schizophrenia. So, feeling nila sila ay papatayin, to be persecuted, feeling of grandiosity, and extreme suspicious. Yung tipong pag lumapit ka sa kanila, sabihin nila, papatayin mo ako, papatayin mo ako. So, parang ganun. Next, disorganized naman is, a person is often incoherent but may not have delusions. Meaning, sila yung mga taong hindi mo maintindihan. Ano ba talagang gusto nila sa buhay? Ano ba gusto nila maabot? Okay? Yun. So, that's disorganized schizophrenia. What about catatonic? Okay, now catatonic naman is when a person is withdrawn, mute, negative, and assumes a very unusual posture. So, they have what we call motor symptoms. Now, kapag catatonic ang isang tao, or meron siyang catatonic schizophrenia, ito yung tinatawag nating negative schizophrenia. Now, the next type of schizophrenia is residual, meaning ang taong ito na-treat na for schizophrenia. Now, you will find out later paano ito nangyayari, pero basically, kapag tinitreat mo ang taong may schizophrenia, ang tendency is you suppress their emotions, you suppress their hallucinations, delusions. Now, sometimes, sumusobra wherein nawawala na ng motivation ang taong mabuhay. So, these symptoms can be most devastating in what sense? Ang nangyayari is, nagpapakamatay ang mga taong ito. And then lastly, undifferentiated type of schizophrenia. So as the term implies, ito yung uri ng schizophrenia na hindi ma-classify ng isang psychiatrist. So now, how does schizophrenia work? So schizophrenia basically results from excessive dopamine neurotransmission in either the mesolimbic or mesocortical pathway. So again, remember this, guys. Based on theories, again, this is theories, hindi pa siya scientifically proven. Ang sabi raw dito is that schizophrenia occurs kapag nagkakaroon ng sobrang stimulation ng dopamine in the mesolimbic or mesocortical pathways of the brain. Now, if you remember, guys, dopamine is responsible for our pleasure drive. Okay, so tendency is nagkakaroon ng pleasure in doing unusual or bizarre things ang isang tao may schizophrenia. Now, let's talk about how dopamine works. Normally, in the presynapse, okay, nandun ang ating mga neurotransmitters. So, dopamine will be released via exocytosis and will bind to the postsynaptic dopamine receptor. So, kapag nag-bind sila sa receptors nila, well, what do we expect? Nagkakaroon ng response. Now, this is the normal thing. Now, malas lang ng ibang dopamine, kapag hindi sila nakapag-bind, well, they are degraded by either MAO or COMT into homovanillic acid or inactive form of dopamine. So this is what normally happens. Now, what happens kapag something goes wrong in the case of schizophrenia? So, kung mapapansin niyo sa picture na to, kitang-kita natin, there is too much dopamine for a single receptor. So what happens? Nagkakaroon tayo ng hyperexcitation ng ating dopamine receptors. Sino ba naman hindi maluloka kung ganito karami yung asawa mo? At puro ganito karami ang iyong asawa, puro panganay na halos ang anak. So there is excessive production of CAMP, which is responsible for the various symptoms of schizophrenia. Now, how do we define, or ano ba nangyayari kapag there is excessive amounts of dopamine? Now, let's first talk about the dopaminergic pathway. Now, dopamine can bind or has 4 pathways. So they can go into the mesolimbic area of the brain, So this one is thought to be responsible for the thought process. Ang mesolimbic area ng ating brain, okay, if stimulated by dopamine, will create the thought process. So sabi nga natin, overactivity in this area of the brain will cause the positive symptoms of schizophrenia, which is, yun na nga, creates hallucinations or the feeling of grandeur, etc., etc. Now, what about sa mesocortical area ng brain? Okay, if dopamine binds the mesocortical area of the brain, this one is mainly responsible for creating our emotions. That's why an underactivity here would lead to negative symptoms of schizophrenia. So again, both the mesolimbic and mesocortical areas of the brain is the one responsible for causing schizophrenia. So overreaction dito. Now again paalala ko lang, kapag negative ang schizophrenia mo, there is underactivity in the mesocortical areas of the brain. Right? Now, kapag positive naman ang symptoms, sabi nga natin, marami ang dopamine both in mesolimbic, again, yung thought process, sumusobra-sobra, at sa mesocortical. Kaya nagiging masyadong aggressive ang mga taong may schizophrenia sometimes. Okay? The next pathway naman is the nigrostriatal pathway. Now, the nigrostriatal pathway, kapag na-stimulate siya ng dopamine, okay, is responsible for motor planning and purposeful movements. Now, what do you mean when you say motor planning? Halimbawa, magde-decide akong iangat ang kamay ko. Okay, when I am deciding to raise my hand, I'm doing it in a very smooth motion. Now, how am I able to do this in a very smooth motion? Now, that is because of the dopamine binding to the nigrostriatal pathway or the nigrostriatal area of my basal ganglia. So, maliwanag ba tayo doon? And then lastly, the tuberoinfundibular area or pathway for the tuberoinfundibular area of the brain. Now, this is mostly found in the pituitary gland. Now, the tuberoinfundibular pathway is responsible for various endocrine functions. Now, let's name one specific function niya, and that is to decrease prolactin. Now, kapag nag-bind ang dopamine sa tuberoinfundibular, bumababa ang prolactin levels natin. Para saan ba muna ang prolactin? So, this is a hormone responsible for producing milk. Okay? So, meaning, kami mga lalaki, meron ba nito? Obviously, wala. Meron, pero hindi ganun karami or not enough to cause us to lactate. Girls, kayo may prolactin ba? Yes, kapag meron na kayong baby. Hanggat wala kayong baby, ang tendency ng ating tuberoinfundibular is to be stimulated by dopamine to decrease prolactin. So, are we clear on that? Okay, as if naman sasagot kayo, no? Okay. So, anyway, now, let's go to the main topic of the day. How do we manage schizophrenia? So, obviously, gagamit tayo ng antipsychotic medications. Now, antipsychotic medications are basically used to prevent psychosis. Again, let me repeat they prevent psychosis. Do they treat psychosis? No. Forever na nandyan. But we can manage psychosis. Sabi dito, through the use of medications. But then again, what is still the best way to manage any psychological disorder? It will always be behavioral treatment. Now, other than that, these medications are said to suppress motor activity and emotionality. So, meaning, kung ako ay isang psychotic patient at aggressive ako, nanununtok, pag binigyan mo ako ng antipsychotic drug, it can control that impulse of mine to punch somebody. Or yung aking pagiging emotional. Okay? So, again, let me repeat, antipsychotics control both motor and emotionality. Okie dokie. Now, what are the different types of antipsychotic drugs? Now, we can classify them into two. We have the typical and then the atypical antipsychotics. Kapag sinabi natin typical antipsychotics, ito yung kailan nating traditional antipsychotics. So, meaning, ito yung mga pinakaunang ginawang antipsychotic drugs. So under this, we have the phenothiazines, butyrofenones, and thioxanthines. On your right, you can find there the atypical antipsychotics. Now, as the term implies, atypical meaning, well, they're not typical. So, ito yung mga huling ginawa na. So, sabi nga natin before, di ba class, ano ang mas maganda? Yung mga naunang ginawa o yung mga nahuhuling ginawa? So, atypical antipsychotics are a lot better as compared to the typical antipsychotics. Now, what are the drugs under this? So, we have drugs like clozapine, risperidone, sulpiride, sertindole, seroquel, olanzapine, and quetiapine. Now, we have other newer products under atypical antipsychotics, which I will be mentioning as we go on with the lesson. Okay, so now, how do antipsychotic drugs work? So ano nga po ang problema sa psychosis? Ang sinabi natin, ang problema with psychosis is there is overstimulation of the D2 receptors in the mesolimbic or mesocortical areas of the brain. So this one would now lead to altered thought process or extreme emotions. Now, dahil alam natin there's too much dopamine in the D2 receptors, what do we need to do? So to manage psychosis, we just simply need to block the receptor. By blocking the D2 receptor, nai-inhibit natin ang pathogenesis ng schizophrenia. Now, as I block the D2 receptor, what will be the end effect? Well, obviously, there will be no cellular response. So, walang CAMP. Now, how do neuroleptics work? Now, neuroleptics, as we've said, are mainly D2 blockers. So, meaning, antipsychotic drugs block dopamine receptors. So, they stop the overexcitation of the dopamine receptors. Now, kapag binalak natin ang D2 receptors, obviously, affected itong apat na pathways ng dopamine. Now, what we want for psychosis is to block the mesolimbic and mesocortical areas of the brain. Now, kapag binalak natin yan, specifically the mesolimbic, this one will control schizophrenic events. So, sabi nga natin, thought process ang affected kapag may schizophrenia. So, by controlling the mesolimbic, you also control the symptoms of schizophrenia. Now, by inhibiting the mesocortical areas of the brain, the person who has schizophrenia can also become less aggressive. Okay? Now, what if naman na-block natin ang nigrostriatal pathway? So, kakasabi lang natin, kaya tayo nakaka-move in a very fine manner. It's because of the dopamine stimulating the nigrostriatal pathway. Now, if you inhibit that dopamine, what happens to our movements? Now, this one will now lead to extrapyramidal syndrome. Extrapyramidal syndrome, also known as Parkinson's-like syndrome. Now, nakakita na ba kayo ng taong may Parkinson's? A good example is Pope John Paul II. If you notice, kapag naglalakad siya, lagi siyang nanginginig. Dahil hindi niya na makontrol ang finesse ng kanyang movements. Okay? So, that's one symptom associated with neuroleptics, or that's one unwanted effects of using neuroleptics. It's the extrapyramidal syndrome. Paano ulit ito nangyari? Dahil binlock natin ang nigrostriatal pathway, which is responsible for motor planning and purposeful movements. Now, what if naman na-block ang dopamine sa tubero-infundibular pathway? So, ang sabi nga natin, di ba, the tubero-infundibular pathway is responsible for decreasing prolactin. So, if I block this area of the brain, what will happen to my prolactin levels? It's going to go sky high. So, tataas ng bonggang-bonggang prolactin. At ano nga ba ang nangyayari kapag mataas ang prolactin? Then, an individual will start producing milk, also known as galactorrhea. Now, kung kaming mga lalaki, tumaas ang prolactin namin, hulaan nyo na mangyayari sa amin. So, this will now cause gynecomastia. So, good-looking guys with boobs. Now, other than blocking the D2 receptors, ang mga neuroleptics natin can also possess other blocking effects. Specifically, the neuroleptics can also block the chemoreceptor trigger zone, histamine receptors, muscarinic receptors, alpha-1 adrenergic receptors, and serotonin receptors. Now, you might be wondering, what is chemoreceptor trigger zone? Now, ito yung part ng brain found in the medulla oblongata, so the medullary center of the brain, which is responsible for triggering the vomit reflex. So, meaning, whenever dopamine binds to the chemoreceptor trigger zone, let's just call it the CTZ, okay, it triggers vomiting. So, if a neuroleptic binds to the chemoreceptor trigger zone, what will happen? So, this will provide an anti-emetic effect. Now, most traditional neuroleptics, okay, yung typical neuroleptics natin, mainly have anti-emetic effects maliban lang sa isang gamot. And that's thioridazine. Now, please take note of that. Baka lumabas sa quiz yan. Now, other than that, histamine blockade. Now, if you remember guys, histamine, lumalabas yan kapag may allergic reaction tayo. At kapag mataas ang histamine levels natin, ang tendency is, what? Nangangati tayo. So, therefore, if I block the histamine receptors, it can provide antipyretic effects, specifically promethazine. Now, promethazine is one of the antipsychotic drugs that we use specifically for its antipyretic effects. Okay? Now, for muscarinic blockade, it leads to anticholinergic effects. So, if you guys still remember the dumbbells, diarrhea, urination, meiosis, etc., etc., lahat yun pwedeng mangyari sa ating mga neuroleptics. Now, next one is the alpha-1 adrenergic receptor blockade. If you remember guys, kapag na-stimulate ang alpha-1, this causes vasoconstriction. Now, pag binigyan kita ng neuroleptic, since it's an alpha-1 blocker, ano ang mangyayari ngayon sa ating blood vessels? This will now cause dilation leading to hypotension. And sometimes it also leads to sexual impotence. Kasi nga, the alpha-1 receptors is responsible for ejaculation for us guys. Now again, let me repeat. By inhibiting the alpha-1 receptor, this will cause hypotension. Specifically, postural or orthostatic hypotension. And then lastly, the blockade of one specific receptor, serotonin. Now, if you still remember guys, ang serotonin is responsible for thermoregulation. Kapag mataas ang serotonin, it leads to hyperthermia. So obviously, if I block serotonin receptors, ano ang mangyayari sa body temperature ko? It's going to go down, leading to hypothermia. Okay, so let's have some frequently asked questions regarding antipsychotic drugs. The first question is, what is the difference between typical and atypical neuroleptics? So, bakit nga ba sila pinaghiwalay? So, aside from the fact na nauna ang typical sa atypical, the following are the following are the differences between typical and atypical. So, one main difference is that typical blocks mainly the D2 receptors. So, meaning, binablock nila yung main cause ng schizophrenia. Now, what about atypical neuroleptics? They block both D2 and serotonin receptors. Now, the link between serotonin receptors and schizophrenia is still unclear. However, ang sabi raw nila, or according to research, this ability of atypical neuroleptics reduces the chances of having extrapyramidal effects upon their use. So, meaning, dahil hindi sila masyado nagbablock sa D2 lang, okay, nababawasan yung extrapyramidal effects nila. Sabi nga natin, yung extrapyramidal effects na to, this is brought about by the blockade of the nigrostriatal pathway. And then the nigrostriatal pathway is activated by dopamine. Now, other than this, ano pa bang pinagkaiba ng typical sa atypical? Typical neuroleptics usually cause EPS because of their strong D2 blocking capacity. While on the other hand, atypical mainly causes weight gain. Kasi ang effects ng mga atypical neuroleptics is more on metabolic. Next question. How do neuroleptics differ in terms of efficacy and potency? So, meron bang pagkakaiba sa efficacy ng risperidone, quetiapine, thorazine, or chlorpromazine, etc., etc.? Now, is there? Well, there is none. Meaning, lahat sila equally effective. Nagkakatalo lang sila sa kanilang potency. Now, in terms of potency, so we have the low potent or drugs with low potency, which includes chlorpromazine and thioridazine. Tapos, ang mga drugs naman with high potency includes haloperidol and thiostixine. Now, since haloperidol is one of the antipsychotic drugs with the highest potency, this has the highest incidence of EPS. And dahil sila ay very potent, kapag binigay ko intramuscularly ang haloperidol, halimbawa, may taong nagwawala, may schizophrenic na nagwawala, sinaksak mo ang haloperidol sa puwet, okay, sa gluteal muscles, then this could control immediately the aggressive behavior of that individual. So I guess nakikita nyo ito madalas sa TV. Yung pag sinasaksakan yung isang taong nagwawala, pagsaksak, usually haloperidol yon, pagsaksak nila, kumakalma sila. Now, other than haloperidol, pwede rin naman gamitin ang chlorpromazine as an IV drug to control aggressive patients. But between the two, sino mas potent? Siyempre, haloperidol. Now, next question. How long does it take before neuroleptics work? So, how long does it take? Pwede bang paggamit ko ngayon ng neuroleptics, kinabukasan, good na ako? Now, antipsychotic effects may not become after several weeks of using. So, meaning, you need to use this medication religiously then lalabas lang ang kanyang effect after several weeks of using this. Now, yung kanyang antipsychotic effect appears after several weeks, but ang side effects niya, the moment you use it, may start appearing, such as sedation, okay, muscle control, yung aggressive behavior ng patient, pwedeng makontrol agad yon. Okay? Pero maliban sa antipsychotic effects niya. So, ibig sabihin, hindi mawawala yung kanyang hallucinations agad-agad. Pero pwede ko i-control yung kanyang excessive behavior. Okay. So, daily treatment with neuroleptics for several weeks produces a reversible cessation of firing of the midbrain dopamine neurons. So, ano ba ang nangyayari kapag binigyan kita ng antipsychotics? If I give you antipsychotics, these are potent D2 blockers. So, I block the D2 receptors. No, dahil binablock mo ang D2 receptors, anong isipin ngayon ng katawan mo? So, ang isipin ng katawan, hala, ba't hindi ako nakakapag-create ng response? So, ang gagawin ngayon ng ating pre-synapse or neurons will be to excessively produce dopamine. Now, kapag produce ng dopamine, ang tendency is nagkakaroon sila ng tinatawag na depolarization block. Meaning, produce, walang nangyayari. So, ano mangyayari ngayon sa ating neurons? Titigil sila sa pag-produce ng dopamine. So, hence, the cessation of firing. Okay. Now, another question here is, what is the first-line agent for the treatment of schizophrenia? So, amongst the array of options that we have to manage schizophrenia, which one is, okay, in a sense, the best? Now, the best drug to choose would be risperidone. Why? Because it has no anticholinergic effects and it has diminished extrapyramidal syndrome. Now, I'm just saying diminish, meaning pwede pa rin naman siya mangyari pero at a lesser chance or lesser ang rate ng occurrence ng extrapyramidal syndrome kapag gumamit ka ng risperidone. And not only that, it has no anticholinergic effect, meaning you won't get constipation, you'll actually have dry mouth pala. You won't have dry mouth, okay, when you use risperidone. Okay, so what are the clinical uses of neuroleptics? So neuroleptics can be used for behavioral emergencies. What do you mean when you say behavioral emergencies? These are the behaviors elicited by violent patients. So sino ba kadalasan ang mga violenting pasyente natin? So patients with mania, okay, toxic delirium, or schizophrenia. So these are the people na halimbawa bigla na lang nagiging aggressive, nanununtok, nangangagat. Okay, pangangagat ang usual na aggressive behavior ng mga schizophrenics. So classic antipsychotic drugs like chlorpromazine and haloperidol can be used to manage hyperactive psychotic states of these patients. So how do we administer these drugs? We can administer it intramuscularly to provide fast effects. Okie dokie. So next, another use of neuroleptic drugs would be obviously ginagamit na siya for schizophrenia. So the major use of anti-schizophrenic drugs are mainly for schizophrenic episodes or psychotic disorders. Now, the typical neuroleptics, ang kadalasang ginagamit natin for the positive symptoms of schizophrenia. Now, if you remember guys, typical neuroleptics are potent D2 blockers. And when you block the D2 receptors, specifically in the mesocortical or mesolimbic areas of the brain, nakokontrol natin ang positive symptoms ng schizophrenia. However, sabi nga natin, kapag binlock mo naman ang mesocortical areas, nagiging withdrawn ang patient. So, which would actually might lead to negative symptoms of schizophrenia. Kaya nga, buti na lang nagawa ang atypical neuroleptics. Kasi kapag may negative schizophrenia ang isang patient, obviously you can't use typical neuroleptics kasi palalalain niya ang negative symptoms ng patients. So, luckily, atypical neuroleptics were developed wherein these groups of drugs are mainly used for negative schizophrenia kasi nga, hindi lang D2 receptors ang binablock nila. They also block serotonin receptors. Okay, ulitin ko lang ha, ang correlation between schizophrenia and serotonin receptor is still not established. But sinasabi nilang maganda raw ang effect nito kapag may negative schizophrenia ang isang patient. Right? So other than that, atypical neuroleptics are also used for patients who are resistant to traditional agents. So aside from that, we can also use typical neuroleptics for nausea and vomiting. And if you remember, one of the effects of typical neuroleptics is to block the CTZ. And by blocking the CTZ, it causes Well, antiemetic effects. Now, if you guys remember lang din, kakasabi ko kanina, only thioridazine has no antiemetic effects. All other typical neuroleptics have, except thioridazine. Now, other uses of neuroleptics would include, pwede siyang gamitin for chronic pain or if a person has severe anxiety, tapos nagkakaroon na siya ng psychotic manifestations. Chlorpromazine can also be used for intractable hiccups. Now, ano bang intractable hiccups? Normally, di ba kapag tayo hinihiccup, less than 12 hours lang siya. Now, if you have intractable hiccups, your hiccups can be as long or more than 1 month. So, ibig sabihin, more than 1 month, nagkakaroon ka ng hiccups. And then, promethazine, being a potent histamine blocker, is mainly used for, or can be used for, pruritus. Now, what are the unwanted effects of antipsychotic medications? Specifically, let's talk about the typical neuroleptics. Now, ano nga ba ulit ang main side effect associated with typical neuroleptics? We said it's EPS, or extrapyramidal syndrome. Now, when we say extrapyramidal syndrome, it's composed of pseudoparkinsonism, or Parkinson's-like disorder, acute dystonia, akathisia, and tardive dyskinesia. So, all 4 symptoms correspond to EPS. Now, how do we get pseudoparkinsonism? Now, ang problema nga sa paggamit ng antipsychotics is they reduce dopamine. Now, ang tendency is kapag bumaba ang dopamine levels natin, nag-shoot up naman ang acetylcholine. Now, if you remember guys, what happens kapag ang acetylcholine nagbind sa NM receptors? This causes contractions. Now, hence, leading to a Parkinson-like disorder, wherein the too much acetylcholine causes uncontrolled tremor. So, makikita nyo, gumagalaw-galaw ang kamay, okay, hirap maglakad, kasi nga, hindi niya na makontrol ang kanyang movements. So, there's 2 posture, shuffling gait, rigidity, bradykinesia, or limited na ang kanyang movement, tremors at rest. Tremors at rest is the classical sign of pseudoparkinsonism. Meaning, nakaupo ka lang, hindi mo mapigilan, gumagalaw ng kusa ang kamay mo. So, ano ulit ang problema sa pseudoparkinsonism? Very good! Sabi nga natin, there is an excessive amount of acetylcholine. So, to manage that, we can use benztropine and piperidine. What are these drugs? Tama ka ulit! These are anticholinergic drugs. Okay? So, because of the excessive amount of acetylcholine, by using piperidine or benztropine, we can manage the Parkinson's-like syndrome. Now, baka lumabas din to sa quiz, tandaan nyo class, ang tanging gamot na ginagamit to manage the Parkinson-like syndrome or EPS associated with the use of antipsychotic drugs is benztropine or piperidine. Now, sometimes, pwede rin naman tayo gumamit ng amantadine. Now, what is amantadine? Okay, alam ko nag-discuss na kayo sa organic medicinals ng antivirals. So, amantadine is a antiviral used to manage influenza A virus. Now, other than that, it can actually increase dopamine release. So, hence, we can use amantadine, or sometimes we can use amantadine to manage pseudoparkinsonism. Next symptom of EPS would include acute dystonia. Now, kapag may dystonia ka, mainly affected dito is the face. Okay, the facial area lang. Now, there is facial grimacing. Okay, kung mapapansin mo, parang, ano bang itsura nito? Ang pangit niya. Okay, involuntary upward eye movement. So, muscle spasm of the tongue, face, neck. Sa neck niya naman, nagkakaroon siya tinatawag na torticollis. Kapag sinabi mong torticollis, bend to the left or right ang inyong neck. So, naka-bend lang siya to the right, hindi gumagalaw. Okay, and that's a manifestation of dystonia. Sometimes you can also get laryngeal spasms. Now, how does this happen? This is mainly happening because of the blockade of the nigrostriatal pathway. Now, again, class, nigrostriatal pathway is responsible for the finesse, motor planning. Okay? Gaano kaganda ang movements natin. So, if you block this, obviously, naapektuhan kung gaano kaganda ang movements natin. Now, acute dystonia normally occurs early in treatment. So, usually, in the first few weeks of treatment, nangyayari ang acute dystonia. Yun na nga, facial grimacing, nagkakaroon ng torticollis, etc., etc. Now, what's nice about this is that as you keep using the antipsychotics, nawawala siya unti-unti. So, pwedeng mag-create ng tolerance against acute dystonia. Okay? Now, yun nga lang, initially, ito talaga ang unang maramdamang symptoms ng EPS, yung dystonia. Now, please take note, the effects of this is reversible. So, tigilan ko lang ang paggamit ng antipsychotics, mawawala din naman yung dystonia. Another symptom of EPS would be akathisia. Akathisia, ito yung mahilig siya in a sense, parang kuya-kuy. Okay, nagkakaroon ka ng tinatawag na parang restless leg syndrome. Yung hindi ka mapakali. Okay, so akathisia is a subjective sense of restlessness. Now, it can be managed with the use of either anticholinergics, antihistamines, or pwede rin naman amantadine for the same reason why we use these drugs for pseudoparkinsonism. And then lastly, the worst kind of symptom na mabukuha mo from EPS, tardive dyskinesia. Tardive dyskinesia kasi occurs after months or years of using antipsychotic drugs. Now, balikan lang natin ha, can you treat psychosis? Very good. Hindi siya matitreat, but it can be managed using drugs. Now, if you keep using these drugs, ang tendency is nagkakaroon ka nga ng tardive dyskinesia, which is manifested by protrusion or the rolling of the tongue. So, nakaluwa ang dila, chewing motion, facial dyskinesia, and involuntary movements of the bodies and extremities. Now, ang tardive dyskinesia is a result by D2 hypersensitivity. Now, if you remember guys, if you keep using blockers or antagonists, okay, you antagonize a receptor, ano ang nangyayari sa kanila? Okay? Sabi nga natin, kapag lagi mong binablock ang receptors, if you keep using an antagonist, this one results to upregulation. Now, upregulation meaning dumadami lalo ang D2 receptors. So, hence, we get D2 hypersensitivity. And when there is too much when there is D2 hypersensitivity, now this leads to tardive dyskinesia. So, I hope we're good with that. Okay, kung hindi nyo medyo na-gets, balik-balikan nyo lang ang part na to. Okay, press rewind. Or, of course, use the internet, search for tardive dyskinesia. Right, so other unwanted effects of using neuroleptics would include neuroleptic malignant syndrome. Now, ano ba ang pinaka-characteristic nito? Ang neuroleptic malignant syndrome causes hyperthermia. Okay? Now, why do we get hyperthermia? Now, the hyperthermia here is brought about by muscle rigidity. Okay? Naalala nyo guys, di ba, na kapag ang muscles nag-contract ng sobrang-sobra, it causes or it produces heat, which therefore can lead to malignant hyperthermia. Now, is this common? No. It's a very rare incidence. Only 1 to 10% of the population using neuroleptics get neuroleptic malignant syndrome. Now, just in case na mangyari man ito, you can use bromocriptine. Now, bromocriptine is a dopamine analog. So, parang ginagaya niya ang effects ng dopamine. Or you can use dantrolene. Now, why dantrolene ulit? Because dantrolene is a muscle relaxant. Okay? Now, using both drugs or either one of these drugs can manage neuroleptic malignant syndrome. Nakakapagod pala itong gawin. Pagmamahal ko nga naman sa aming profesyon. Okay, so anyway, now this time naman, let's talk about the side effects of atypical antipsychotic drugs. So kanina lang, ang di-discuss natin were the side effects of typical antipsychotics. Now this time, let's talk about atypical. So sabi nga natin, what is the main side effect associated with atypical? We have the weight gain. So mainly because of the metabolic dysfunctions brought about by the atypical antipsychotic drugs. Now, atypical antipsychotic drugs can also cause cataract formation, but not only atypical. Okay, chlorpromazine, which can deposit in the lens of the eye, can cause cataract formation. Now, thioridazine naman, again, another typical neuroleptic, can deposit themselves in the retina, causing blindness. Okay, another side effect would be the sexual side effects, which is popular sa halos lahat naman ng atypical antipsychotic drugs. Now, this is mainly brought about by the blockade of the alpha-1 receptor. Next one is hyperlipidemia. Now, for the hyperlipidemia part, common nangyayari to sa olanzapine. Right? Now, for prolongation of the QTC interval and myocarditis, now this one is commonly elicited by ziprasidone. Now, ziprasidone is a new atypical antipsychotic drug, so it's still under observation. Okay, pero it can cause, yun nga, prolongation of the QT interval. Now, mahirap yung prolongation ng QT interval. Why? Because this can cause ventricular fibrillation. Now, kung umabot kayo ng pharmacology 2 at madiscuss natin to doon, no, actually, i-discuss talaga natin sa pharmacology 2, arrhythmias. Now, VFib, or ventricular fibrillation, is the main cause of sudden death. So, ibig sabihin, if I misuse the drug ziprasidone, okay, at bigla ako nagkaroon ng QT prolongation, pwede ako mamatay on the spot. Right? So, it's a very dangerous adverse side effect or adverse drug event. Okay, and then myocarditis, wherein it causes inflammation of the heart muscles. Okay, so other than that, atypical antipsychotics such as olanzapine and quetiapine can cause diabetes. Pero actually, yung diabetes dito is brought about by the weight change. Okay, di ba? Most neuroleptic causes weight gain, and this weight gain can predispose a patient to having diabetes mellitus. Okay, nagkataon nga lang na common ang diabetes, common sa mga psychotic patients na gumagamit ng quetiapine at olanzapine ang magkaroon ng diabetes mellitus, specifically the type 2. And then lastly, we have the extrapyramidal symptoms. Now, kakasabi lang natin, di ba? Sino bang mas madalas nagkakaroon ng extrapyramidal symptoms? That would be the typical antipsychotics. But as we've said kanina, most typical antipsychotics may still have EPS, pero much lesser lang ang chance nila of occurring. Now, specifically, aripiprazole causes akathisia. So, akathisia yung hindi mapakali, restlessness. Okay, now that is common for aripiprazole. While kinesia, or inability to initiate movements, that happens with the drug risperidone. The other unwanted side effects would include agranulocytosis and leukocytosis for atypical antipsychotics. Specifically, common ito sa clozapine. Now, what is agranulocytosis? Agranulocytosis is a condition wherein sobrang bumaba ang WBC mo. Ano ang pwedeng mangyari kapag bumaba ang WBC? Ang WBC natin is the one defending us from infection. So, if I lose that WBC, I become more prone to infection. Hence, kapag gumamit tayo ng clozapine at nagkaroon ka ng agranulocytosis, this one makes you more prone to infection. So, other unwanted effects of antipsychotic drugs would include jaundice, so meron siyang hepatotoxic properties, okay, gynecomastia, hyperglycemia, so which brings about, yun na nga, diabetes mellitus, akathisia, altered body temperature because of blockade of the serotonin receptor leading to hypothermia, or kapag nagkaroon ka ng muscle rigidity, which is the neuroleptic malignant syndrome, nagkakaroon ka naman ng hyperthermia. Now, hypotension. Ano ang nagkakos ulit ng hypotension sa paggamit ng mga neuroleptics? Alright! It's the alpha-1 receptor blockade. Okay? So, solar sensitivity and curiform movements. Alright? So, that ends our topic for today regarding schizophrenia. So, hopefully guys, you learned something new. I'm hoping maging effective ito. Right? Kayo ang una kong batch na sinubukan ito. If this one will be good, then hooray! I can do this more often. If you find this effective class, please send me some comments, or if you have any queries or suggestion, you can email me via ldalaluna@cu.edu.ph, or kausapin nyo na lang ako pag nagkita-kita tayo sa class. So hopefully guys, you enjoyed that session, and hope you learned a lot.